Namaste and welcome back to today's episode of Mahabharata Matters. In the previous episode, we saw that Duryōdhana was humiliated by the mercy of the Pandavas. After being captured by Chitrasena, he was rescued by Bhima and Arjuna. Yudhishthira had pardoned him and let him go. Duryōdhana could not handle this humiliation. He parted from the rest of his party and went away into the forest. Many hours had passed, he did not know how much time had gone by, and suddenly he felt a hand over his shoulders. It was none other than his friend Radheya. Radheya Karna, who had run away from the battle with Chitrasena, had come back looking for his friend. He was very excited to see Duryōdhana. He exclaimed that Duryōdhana was such a great warrior to have chased away the Gandharvas. Little did he know that Duryōdhana was captured by the Gandharva, rescued by Bhima Arjuna, and released by Yudhishthira. All these events had enraged Duryōdhana. He had decided to take up Prāyopavēśa. Prāyopavēśa means fasting unto death. After narrating all the events to Karna, Duryōdhana said he is going to undertake Prāyopavēśa and give up his body. He told his friend he did not want to live the life which needed the mercy and nobility of the Pandavas. He said it was too much for him to handle and wanted to give up life. Karna tried to convince him otherwise, but Duryōdhana wouldn't listen to a word. Dushasana came by, and to him, Duryōdhana said now he could be the king and he is going to give up life. Dushasana was aghast at hearing this. He said he will never do that and he wanted his brother to go back to the kingdom. Duryōdhana was not convinced. By then, Shakuni also came there. The conversations of Duryōdhana, Karna and Dushasana were very amusing to Shakuni. He started taunting Duryōdhana. He said, if you are so humiliated by the nobility of the Pandavas, just give them back their kingdom and your nobility will overshadow theirs. Problem solved. Instead, why are you throwing tantrums like a bratty spoiled child, he said. None of these mattered to Duryōdhana. He would not listen to anyone. He asked them all to go away and he spread a grass bed and wanted to sleep there by himself. His friends and family moved a little bit away but rested in his vicinity. In the middle of the night, when Duryōdhana was by himself, his other inner voice started speaking to him. It said to him, why do you want to waste your entire life based on one mere incident? It reassured him that Bhishma, Drona, Karna were all on his side and he could still win back on the Pandavas. So what if they were noble? He was more powerful. He was more ambitious and determined to drive away the Pandavas and win the kingdom for himself. That voice also said to him that it was stupid to give up what he has earned already just because of a mere humiliation of one incident. Thus convinced with his own inner voice, he woke up with a rejuvenated spirit. Along came again his friend, brother, uncle and everyone else. Although they were saying the same things they had told the previous day, it sounded sweeter to him because they were attesting his own thoughts today. He gave up the idea of fasting unto death, determined to fight the Pandavas and become the lord of all land all by himself. So what do we learn from this story? There are 4 types of Vairagyas. Apad Vairagya, Prasuti Vairagya, Shmashana Vairagya and the Purana Vairagya. What are these 4 Vairagyas? Apad Vairagya is dispassion when in times of trouble. We do not want anything and we say that we are fine without having the object of our desire. That attitude remains only so long as we think we are in trouble or in distress. Prasuti Vairagya. This is the Vairagya of the mother who will say during her labor, because of this pain, she will never have children anymore. Prasuti Vairagya is also for the Jiva in the womb. It is believed that the Jiva remembers all his past karmas when in the womb. He repents for all the wrong karmas and decides he will never do all the wrong actions because he doesn't want to be in the womb ever again. But after being born, both the mother and the Jiva forget all the pains and thoughts at that time and go back to our ways in the world. The third one is Smashana Vairagya. The Vairagya or dispassion we come to when we are in a funeral of someone else. Looking at the fragility of life, we decide that we have to do only good karma and not do bad actions when we are in the funeral home. But once we come out, we again forget that Vairagya and get back into the ways of the world. Purana Vairagya. While listening to any scriptures, we get dispassion momentarily. But once we come out of the hall after listening, we forget that as well. These types of Vairagyas are not to stay, they are only momentary. That was exactly what was happening to Duryōdhana. It was Apad Vairagya. He just wanted to have dispassion because he was in trouble. That Vairagya or dispassion did not last. Another thing to observe here is that based on our mindset, the words of other people are either pleasing or displeasing. Karna, Dushyasana, Shakuni were saying the same things on both the days, but the first day it did not work for Duryōdhana. But the next day, because he was convinced that he has to go back and give up his idea of fasting, the same words sounded sweeter to him. It is common for people to have selective hearing. We want to only hear what agrees with our thoughts. If not, we reject it. Something to be mindful of if we want to truly take advice from others. Also, it is shameless for a person to not learn from his mistakes and move on as if nothing had happened. Duryōdhana did exactly that. Although he could have learned a lesson in nobility and humility, he just moved on, dusting off the whole incident. With these thoughts, we come to the end of today's episode. Remember, in this series, we are discussing matters of Mahabharata because even today, Mahabharata matters. Hari Om!